Today's story is about a prisoner who escapes from jail every time, no matter how much security there is. This is the story of Japan's most dreaded prisoner, Suzuki, who is currently serving his sentence in Japan's most high-security prison. After the guard on checking duty left, Suzuki suddenly smiled and took out one of his teeth. After some time, the guards came again for checking, but this time Suzuki had escaped. They suspected someone's presence there, but Suzuki was no novice. He kept hiding here and there, avoiding the light without making any noise. When the guard checked the isolation cell again, he understood that Suzuki had escaped. He immediately called the rest of the guards, and within no time, a crowd gathered there. When Suzuki was running from the roof, the prison sirens started ringing loudly. Suddenly, heavy rain started, and we are shown the backstory. 12 years ago, some prisoners were brought to a jail. Suzuki was one of them who had come there to serve his sentence. Because he never spoke anything, everyone believed him to be dumb. He also had an upside-down tattoo of Mount Fuji on his chest. Suzuki was famous for escaping from jail, even at that time, and had done so 3 times so far. After this, Suzuki was brought to a small room where there was only a skylight. He looked at the skylight carefully. Something was going on in his mind. The guard outside told the jail warden, Mr. Kanimura, that Suzuki would never be able to escape this time, but as soon as he looked through the window, Suzuki had already disappeared. The warden ordered the entire city to be surrounded so that Suzuki could not escape under any circumstances, but the guards caught him in 20 minutes. I don't know why, but Suzuki kept running straight on the railway track. After this, he was again imprisoned in the same room, but this time he had handcuffs on his hands. When a guard peeped inside, Suzuki was sleeping with a sheet over his face. In anger, he asked Suzuki to remove the sheet because he did not want to take any chances. When the guard asked him repeatedly, he did not do anything. When he did not remove the sheet, the guards beat him up badly. The next morning, the warden took out all the old records of Suzuki. After reading them carefully, he found out that whenever Suzuki escapes from jail, he is always caught on the railway track. At night, the warden went for checking with the guards. He was surprised to reach Suzuki's cell because he had somehow opened his handcuffs. The guard beat him in anger and asked how he opened the handcuffs, but Suzuki kept quiet as usual. Once again, he was beaten up badly. One day, Suzuki was playing with a small wire which he had somehow hidden and brought inside the jail. The question arises, how did he bring this wire inside? He used to open his handcuffs by hiding it in his mouth. After a few days, the warden went to his home on a week's leave. Now Suzuki had a great chance to escape. He took out his wire and tried to open the lock. Soon a guard came there for checking. He peeped and saw that Suzuki was again sleeping with his head covered, but this time he was unable to escape. The bar guard left without saying anything, but the reality was that Suzuki was not inside at all. He was sitting stuck to the roof like a lizard. He was waiting for the right opportunity to escape from the jail. After the guard left, he slowly reached the top. He punched a spot on the roof and escaped from there. When the guard came to know, he immediately rang the siren. The warden was also informed, and he immediately left for the jail. The next morning, the police were making plans to catch Suzuki when the warden also reached there. He said to leave all the plans and send only one team to the nearby railway tracks. The officers also thought that the warden had become old. Suzuki is not so crazy that he will go to the same place every time. But when the warden assured them that he was 100% sure Suzuki would be found there, they believed him and sent the team. His words also turned out to be true. Suzuki was caught once again on the railway tracks. Due to the intelligence of the warden, Suzuki was caught. Pleased with his work, he was promoted, and now he is a big officer. A special guard was appointed who used to visit all the jails of the country and check the condition of the prisoners. Suzuki escaped once again and was caught again on the tracks. Every year, he was sent to a new jail which had tighter security, but he used to escape from everywhere. This is why the media gave him the title of Star Fugitive, and he became famous all over the country. After 12 years, he was brought to the central jail. Here he was under tight security because 10 guards were standing just to keep an eye on him. His room was also made of cement, and there were many locks on the door. This is the same isolation jail which we had seen in the beginning of the story. After the guards left, Suzuki looked around, and he was once again ready to escape. A guard brought food and kept it in his cell, but Suzuki caught him and handcuffed him. The guard immediately blew the whistle, due to which many more guards reached there. They beat him badly and made his condition worse. When Suzuki regained regained consciousness, he saw the guards leaving from the door. Blood was dripping from his face and falling on the iron bars. The next morning, the guards tightened the handcuffs a few more screws so that this time he would not be able to open them. Before leaving, they did some maintenance on his body once again. This is how Suzuki's days went by. He would deliberately mess with the guards. They would hit him, and then he would drip his blood on the iron bars. One day, the guard hit him so hard that his tooth broke off. But Suzuki picked it up and smiled at him in a strange way. It seemed as if this was all part of his plan. After this, Suzuki started making something on the wall with his tooth. A few weeks later, Suzuki attacked another guard. This time, he was given the most dangerous punishment. They tied him with a long chain and hung him. A year passed, and Suzuki was still serving his sentence. His condition had worsened. His body had started rotting, and maggots had started growing on his wounds. Finally, that evening, the guards came and opened his chains. After a whole year, he breathed a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, the old warden arrived to check the currency. He went to the isolation cell and saw that Suzuki's condition was very bad, but he ignored it and went away. Then came the same night from where the story started. When lightning started to strike outside, Suzuki executed his plan. He took out his tooth and started opening the screws of the handcuffs. Actually, Suzuki was not making anything on the wall with his tooth. Rather, he was rubbing it and making it sharp so that he could open the screws by using it. Free from the handcuffs, he went to the door and started pushing the iron bars. The bars had rusted due to the continuous dripping of blood. In a few moments, the bars broke and Suzuki escaped from the prison. After this, the story of Suzuki's birth was told. As soon as he was born, his mother died and his father was rotting in the jail. Due to this, he grew up in the house of his relatives. One day, Suzuki was practicing in the forest when he saw a man coming from a distance. It was none other than his father. They talked for a while, and then he noticed a tattoo of Mount Fuji on his father's chest. Unfortunately, soon some policemen arrived who wanted to arrest Suzuki's father. Seeing this, Suzuki started running straight on the railway tracks. On this day, Suzuki swore that he would definitely meet his father someday. In the present time, Suzuki escaped and was once again running on the tracks. The warden called out to him from behind to stop, and surprisingly, he stopped. In a short while, a team of guards came and took him away. Even the tightest security prison in the country could not stop Suzuki, so Mr. him to be sent to the most dangerous prison on earth. This prison was not like any ordinary prison. It was built in the middle of the ocean, where there was a constant strong current, and most importantly, there were no train tracks there at all. Moreover, the sea was full of sharks, so it was impossible to escape from there. The conditions inside the prison were equally dangerous. There were thousands of guards all around the prison, and if any prisoner tried to escape, he was ordered to be shot on sight. When Suzuki reached there, he was immediately locked in his cell. It was not a room, but some rods, which were attached around Suzuki's body in such a way that he could not move at all, let alone escape. Meanwhile, the warden went to the prison library and started to find information about Suzuki. On searching, he found some old files, which he started reading. Meanwhile, Suzuki was standing in the prison, meditating. Although it was impossible for the rest of the people to escape from there, something was brewing in Suzuki's mind. Suddenly, he dislocated both his shoulders and started to slowly come out of that small space, shrinking. A prisoner saw him doing this, but he was so drunk that he could not say anything. The warden was still doing his research when the prison siren started ringing. However, instead of getting worried, the prison warden became happy because there was no way to escape from there. Moreover, today all the guards would get a chance to shoot a prisoner. Kanimura tried to explain to him that Suzuki was not an ordinary prisoner, but the warden ignored him. The next morning, many guards were given guns and spread all over the island. The warden was explaining something to his men when Kanimura arrived there. He told the warden that Suzuki had actually come to find his father, who was imprisoned in the same prison. Everyone was stunned to hear this. And then Suzuki's reality was revealed. In fact, whatever had happened till now was all a part of Suzuki's plan. He escaped from prison many times and deliberately got caught so that he could finally reach this prison. His real intention was to free his father. Suzuki finally met his father, and both of them cried seeing each other after so many years. Unfortunately, the warden was coming there with Kanimura and the rest of the guards, but Suzuki disappeared with the old man before they could reach there. Suzuki brought his father to the edge of Ireland. He had already prepared a paraglider there. Both of them boarded the paraglider and flew away. On the other hand, Mr. Kane tried to talk to an old man who was imprisoned with Suzuki's father. Then, he saw a tattoo of Mount Fuji on the man's chest, which simply meant that, even after so many years of hard work, Suzuki ran away with the wrong man. Now, no one can have a worse fate than this. Can you endure so much trouble for your father? Do tell us in the comments.